Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, June 30th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, LCFY. Quite the crazy move on this one today. So we'll take a look at it as we head into Monday, and there's a couple of key levels that I think a lot of people will be watching, so let's get those mapped out. So the first key level is this support trend line right here. Nothing fancy there. Got to think a lot of people have, whoops. There we go. Got to think a lot of people are watching that area, and I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, but it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there is no guarantee, is it plausible to think that the price could come down here and bounce? Well, of course it is. It's bounced there. It's bounced there. Now, that just because it's bounced before does not mean it'll for sure bounce again. But again, it's just an idea of, is it at least a rational, plausible question to throw out there that it could bounce up there? And yeah, I think absolutely that's a more than valid scenario. So keep an eye on that from the support side of things. And then in regards to areas of resistance, it seems though a key dynamic, key area right here at about $9.95. You can see several times here the price struggled with it, and then even late day today the price couldn't quite push up through $9.95. So while I'm not saying that level can't be broken, that does seem to be the main battleground to watch here moving forward. And then just from a pattern standpoint, if we have our area of resistance and we have our area of support, we have essentially an ascending triangle here. So just really a question of, can the ascending triangle get the break to the upside? We'll see what happens next week. Next one here, BBAI. Talked about this one really, I think every day this week in all actuality, but the most recent level we've been talking about is this $5.90 mark, which is the red line right there. And you can see today, once again, it just not really, the problem is not pushing up above it. The price has been able to push above it. It's happened several times. The problem is maintaining and growing momentum. And that's just where the price has just not been able to do it. It has tried several times to push up through there, but it's just not been able to build any kind of longer lasting momentum. And that doesn't mean that it can never do it, but there we go. We can see it a little bit better, but you can just see time and time again, got above there, dropped, got above there, dropped, got above there, and try to stay above there, once again, dropped. So moral of the story moving forward into next week, just because the price breaks above 590, I'd be a little skeptical because right now the history of things is showing that, yeah, the price will break above it, but just can't quite maintain above it. As far as areas of support, pretty interesting trend line right there. So that would be the ideal level. I mean, if, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest? Certainly staying above there, but not a do or die level. If the price can't quite hold above there, then the next key level to watch would be that purple line right there, the 50-period simple moving average. So all eyes remain on 590 next week. We'll see if the bulls can get the job done and push up through there and then stay up above it. Next one, RCT. This is looking pretty ugly right now, but for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly. But yes, right now, pretty much a reverse V-shaped recovery up here. And then, like I said, upside down V. But this is where things get interesting because if this bleeding can happen a little bit more, then maybe, just maybe, the price can find some support at this area. And that is the 50-period moving average, the purple line, the 200-period moving average, the pink line. And while that guarantees nothing, even if you have just a surface deep understanding of charts, I'm sure you've heard of both those moving averages, and you know that when the price is above them, they do tend to act as support. Again, keyword being 10, not guaranteed. So more than valid to think that maybe the price comes down here and then gets some sort of bounce. Now, it may not. That's why you better be good at risk management. You better honor stop losses. But from a risk versus reward scenario, if the price does come down here and even gets a modest bounce relative to what was being risked in the first place, like I said, you could be looking at a very nice risk versus reward profile. So if you like these sets of circumstances, you're a disciplined trader, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol NKE. Nike, very, very impressive day on this one, and now have a good solid pattern here moving into next week. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. We have the resistance part of the pattern right there. We have a nice little bottom formation right there. And then just to make the pattern easiest to see, let's keep it all one color. So we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. And then depending on how you want to draw the pull, you could draw it from here. If you want, you could start it way down here. But either way you look at it, this would be a bull pennant pattern. Not just because something's in a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But hopefully nobody would be shocked if the price, did something like this and then worked its way up through there. Again, is that guaranteed to happen? Absolutely not. Is it at least a valid question to throw out there? Absolutely. So if you like bull pennant patterns, certainly keep an eye on Nike. Next one, NVDA, and sure, it pulled back a little bit today, but all things considered, looking strong. With all that said, though, let me draw this in here, and hopefully I don't get too many hate comments, but just mapping out the chart, Whoops. There we go. And this is actually, in my mind, it was a lot worse than this. So I was going to say a big old rising wedge pattern, which is a bearish pattern. But now that I do that, honestly, my eyes, maybe it's time to go to the eye doctor. This is not nearly as rough as a pattern as what I thought it was. I still think there's a little bit of a rising wedge component to it. So I'd be a little skeptical next week from the bulls side of things. But also to be just fair, yeah, in my mind, before I started drawing in lines, I definitely did overestimate just how much of a rising wedge this actually was. So I am still slightly leaning bearish headed into next week, but overall, NVIDIA, very nice looking chart. And we'll call it a poor man's rising wedge because I wouldn't say this is some sort of, let me put it this way, if I was putting together a textbook and I was at the rising wedge pattern, chapter, I would definitely not put this one in there. But nonetheless, like I said, I'm a little bearish biased because of the general poor man's falling wedge, but we'll see, or excuse me, poor man's rising wedge, but we'll see how it all plays out. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description area you can use, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, ticker symbol HIMS, and we've talked about this pattern already, so I'm going to go through this a little quicker just so I can respect your time as much as possible. But there is the top part of the pattern. There is the bottom part. Change that to green for support, and then just make it easier to see. Let's keep it all one color now. So we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. We have a nice upwards move right there. So this is probably more of a bull flag compared to a bull pennant. But don't get too stuck up in the semantics because it's just the general idea that's being conveyed. And that general idea is this: there was a big move up, now there's a bit of consolidation, and now it's just a question of will the price get the move back in the upwards direction. So if you like bull flag patterns, definitely keep an eye on HIMS next week. Next one, SMCI, and overall it did pull back a bit here, and that is where the first update comes into play. This update being based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So got to change 48 there to an area of resistance, but overall, not a big deal. Keyword there being overall, because if you look at where the price was earlier on in the week, all the way down here, and now you look where the price is. So even with the pullback here, when you compare these lows to where it was down here, I think the chart speaks for itself. From the big picture overall standpoint, the chart very much so still has had a good week. But in the near term, nonetheless, 48 will be that first key level of resistance, followed by 50.65 as that next key overarching level. In terms of next levels of support, keep a close eye on the purple line right there, current value of that at 46.50. And then if the price were to fall below there, then you'd want to keep an eye on the pink line there, valued at 43.90. And the pink line, I don't want to say a do or die level, but certainly way more important, but also it's kind of, I don't think very productive to talk too much about it because the price isn't anywhere close to it. But nonetheless, still at least wanted to mention it. So sure, the price pulled back today to close out the week, but as you see here, overall, the chart is still plenty much in an uptrend. Next one here, PLTR, and wow, I'm not sure if there was news or what, but, and this is why I like to do these when the markets are open, but check out the last 30 minutes. Even as I speak, it is going to even new lows here. So yeah, not quite sure what happened, but from a technical standpoint, and this will mean more to those of you that have watched past videos, I have been talking about the pink line there, 200 period moving average as a key area of support. And yeah, did a great job of holding that support there. Did a great job holding right there. But yeah, the last 30 minutes, again, there must be some sort of news or something out. But yeah, it broke there and the rest is history. So what a crazy, crazy plunge. So on that note, and I was not, last time I looked at this, it was not doing this. So caught me a little off guard as soon as I pulled this up. So let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Oh, wow. 1 hour means each one of these candlesticks no longer represents 30 minutes, but 1 hour. So even on the hourly, the price is pushed down below the pink line with the next key area of support. Next, maybe bounce point right here at that level at 129.25. And I better add in one more just in case the craziness carries into Monday. And then with that next key area of support right down there around 124.85. But yeah, what a flush. Big move down. I'm almost curious to try to dig up the news right now, but I'll keep myself moving on the video. But yeah, wow, crazy last portion of the day. Next one here, AMD, and this brings a tear to my eye as far as charts are concerned. But you've heard me talk about that purple line time and time again, and sure, there was a pullback, but I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Look at the beautiful, beautiful bounce. Again, brings a tear to my eye right off of that purple line there, which you now know is that 50-period moving average. Now, is it always that beautiful? It's not, but also, if you use charts, if you've been around charts, I don't think anybody's exactly shocked to see that sort of price action either, because again, it's that famous 50-period moving average. But nonetheless, moving forward, that is certainly the ideal situation where you want to continue to see the price bounce off of that purple line. In the event the price does drop down below it, next key level to watch from a support standpoint right there around 139.35. In regards to levels of resistance, I think the key level right now is right here. There seems to be kind of a quote-unquote clump of resistance levels right here. You have that high right here. And I realize the price did go above there a couple of times, but still, if you just look at this as, again, a clump of price, then right here around the 146.30 seems to be more so the key area of resistance. But all in all, yeah, there was a pullback, but big picture, still building higher bases. Beautiful bounce off the 50-period moving average and some nice upwards momentum here and then to the close. So we'll see if this maybe does continue into next week. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and finally got the answer to this big old pattern that we've been tracking the past couple of days. Broke down below it. Pretty crazy, though. Broke below it. Big plunge. Came back up, and then finally made more of a sustainable move. Although, as I speak right now, you can see Tesla does have a nice little bounce that is underway. So certainly interesting action here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. And then in terms of areas of support, I'm going to put a trend line in right here that I'm very curious about. We'll see. Who knows if this will come into play or not, but nonetheless, I'm going to put that in there. I think that's going to be a key area of support that, in my opinion, I think has a great chance of coming into play next week, and then it'll be very interesting to see how the price behaves, if it does go down there. In terms of areas of resistance right now, good initial push up above that pink line right there. That's a good step in the right direction, but that's more of a narrower term, kind of very, very small time frame, small angle to look at things. More of a broader standpoint, you're going to want to watch that level up here, the red line at 330. But even before that, you're going to want to watch that purple line right there, 50-period moving average. Keyword being moving. So the price has moved down below, and that line will continue to move down. So at some point, assuming this bounce continues, the price is going to have to do battle with that purple line. So yes, 330 is definitely a key overarching level. But before you put too much emphasis on that, price is first going to need to prove itself by getting above that 50-period moving average. But yeah, rough day, but try to look at things as the glass being half full. Nice little bounce today, late day. So will this bounce continue into next week? We'll see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free class. It'll be next week, Thursday, July 3rd, and it'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, as always, if you enjoy, make sure to hit that like button. And also, I've been live streaming, so if you want to come watch me trade live, ask me questions, or just hang out during the day, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you are notified of when I do go live. So it's always fun when people show up and say, hey, I'm from the top 10 video. So let me know in the chat box on the live if you do decide to show up. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and make sure you get signed up for the free class.